Hello, everybody. My name is Christian Charlo. Today we're Tuesday, December 31st. Today, folks, I want to talk to you about our predictions for 2014. But before that, let's make a follow up on what our predictions of 2013 did. Some of them worked out. First of all, concerning me, I was talking about the real estate sector, the residential REIT sector in 2013. I was saying that it could do well. So far, it didn't perform well, but there was one stock that I really liked. It was Tricon Capital, which actually was buying some houses and was renting them in the U.S. They made a deal also with a big private equity firm. So Tricon Capital actually worked well among my predictions of 2013. And the home builders, I was looking at Beazer Homes. So far, Beazer Home performed pretty nicely. Max, though, was bearish in the financial sector on the Canadian side because there were a lot of worries concerning a possible slowdown of the real estate sector. Canadians had a lot of debt and continue to have a lot of debt, so we were expecting a rocky year for the financial sector. Well, Max was wrong because the financial sector performed pretty nicely since 2013 and the Canadian side, but also on the US side, he actually had some worries that because of the new rules that those companies might not do well. So it was actually wrong because both financial sector performed pretty well. But Max was bullish in the industrial sector, and here it worked because he actually was bullish on Boeing. Boeing performed pretty nicely throughout the year. They had a lot of orders, especially at the Dubai Air Show. So Boeing, I think, will continue to do well. C.H. Robinson was also among his picks in the industrial sector. So far, the stock didn't move much, but still, it's staying within its sideways formation. So maybe 2014 will be better for C.H. Robinson. For the energy sector, it was also bullish. I think with what happened with the revolution with the shale gas in the U.S., the energy sector will continue to perform pretty nicely. Growth is spiking up in the U.S. for 2014. The forecasts are bullish, so I think the energy sector, as 2013, as Max predicted, did well and could continue to do well in 2014. For the mining sector, it was also bullish. He had two stocks, Teck Resources and Hudbay Minerals. Well, so far, the thing that worked for Max predictions is that on Hudbay Minerals and Teck Resources, we can say that 2013 was definitely a bottom. So far the stocks are actually performed slightly well, but it's a mix. You cannot say it's a clear bullish signal, though, that we had on those stocks. Now, for Francis, it was bullish in the venture index around 2013, but finally the venture index didn't perform well. We're still staying flat on that index, and it was bullish on the Palladium. His stock was Palladium. It didn't perform well, so Francis' predictions for 2014 didn't really work out. But the winner of us all is Nick. Nick was bullish on the Japanese market, especially with the loose monetary policies adopted by the central banks. What a performance. EWG performed pretty nicely. Nick also predicted that Twitter will be on the stock market. Twitter is on the stock market, is also performing well, so good job there. Facebook it predicted that in 2013 will at least reach the price of its IPO. Facebook went higher than the price of its IPO, also a good job there. But it was not always right. It was not right on Apple. He predicted that Apple could reach $700 on 2013. It didn't do. So actually, Nick won a lot of his bets. But so far, let's see what are the bets for the analysts for 2014. Well, first of all, let me start with my predictions. I'm bullish in the financial sector on the U.S. side. I believe that the main challenge for 2014 will be the Volcker rule. It's to allow banks to not trade the people's money for the investment decisions. So we're going to have a separation from the investment portion of the banks and the deposit portion. So I think banks, there will be some worries concerning those rules there because the regulators have to apply them. But I believe that those banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America, first of all, are well capitalized, and they will be able to actually mingle through those rules in 2014. So I expect those banks to do well, but I also expect, because the economy will continue to spike, will continue to grow, and the unemployment will continue to decrease at a modest pace. So I believe that banks such as Fulton Financial, Susquehanna Bank Shares, or Zions Bank Corp, medium to regional banks will continue to do well with the credit that will continue to boom. So for the big banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Morgan Stanley are my picks. And for the medium cap banks, Fulton, Susquehanna Bank Shares, and Zions Bank Corp are my pick. So this is for the financial sector, though. But for the real estate sector, what I believe on the Canadian side is that the 2014 will be a year where a lot of REITs might not be fully in a buying spree because they're not sure what's going to happen with interest rates. We all know that they can only go up, but are they going to go up in 2014? So that's what we don't know. So what I will favor is mostly stocks that can have growth internally or actually not have too much leverage, and they can actually have an increase in occupancy rate and also an increase in the rents. And one stock I really like is Canadian Apartment REIT. That stock, because it's in the multi-residential family sector, it's a sector that is less sensitive to interest rate because they can still increase rent. The main challenge with Canadian Apartment REIT is that in Ontario, though, they actually have a cap on the amount of increase they can impose on rents. But the good thing with this company is that they actually have some new properties now in New Brunswick. And in New Brunswick, there are not those rules. So they'll be able to actually increase their rents there if they're able to grow their portfolio in New Brunswick. So I believe that Canadian Apartment REIT can have a good year for 2014. Trotwell Senior Housing REIT also, I believe it can have a good year. Actually, in the REIT sector on the Canadian side, we have not seen a lot of appetite for new properties there. I believe that in the U.S., REITs that have properties in the U.S. will be well placed. So I believe that Trotwell Senior Housing REIT will do well there because they have some U.S. operations that perform pretty well for 2013, and I believe that in 2014 they can continue to do so. So Trotwell Housing REIT, I believe it can have a good year in the real estate sector. And the biotechnology sector, I believe that it's a sector that will perform pretty nicely because a lot of big companies, a lot of their patents are coming into expiration, and they will have to find new drugs and new companies to develop the cost of the drugs to actually have new patents and be able to increase the revenue stream. So there are some stocks like ProMedica Life Science, I believe that can do well in 2014. Pacific Bioscience also, they're already got a patent, and I believe that stock can continue to do well. Affymetrix, what I like with this stock is that it has also some operations in the Middle East and Africa and Asia, so it's well diversified as a company and can benefit from the growth from those other continents. And in the metal sector, though, I believe that the aluminum sector can continue to do well. There's no vector who tracks the aluminum, but Rio Tinto, I think, is the best that you can use to track the aluminum sector. Why? Because there's a rule that has been right now adopted where the warehouse and the London Mercantile Exchange, well, there were some people who were just holding onto the stockpile of the aluminum, not putting it in the market to don't have an oversupply. But right now, there are some new rules that will make sure that those warehouses do not hold onto the aluminum supply too long and that they put it on the market. I believe that markets have already priced in the excessive supply that might come with those warehouses releasing their supply. But I think that right now, with China that's being more driven into a consumer-led economy, with the growth that will continue to spike up, I think that the aluminum sector and metals sector could continue to do well, and my pick is in the aluminum sector with Rio Tinto for 2014. Now, let's take a look at the predictions that Max have. Max believes that gold stocks for the first half of the year will not do good, but after July 2014 could actually do well, and he believes that they could take at least after a correction of 10%. That's what he predicted for the first mid of 2014. After that, he believes that we will have a solid rebound in gold, but we will not be able to gain all the points that we lost since 2013. So a rebound maybe around this area he expects on 2014 on the gold sector after an important decrease. He's also bullish on it, so you should watch definitely NUGT, right? If ever we have that rebound. For the energy sector, Max is really bullish because he believes that the Canadian producers with the pipelines in the US, the pipelines in the east of Canada, also with the liquefied natural gas, people applying for permit to actually send liquefied natural gas to Asia. Stocks like Suncor, Canadian Natural Resources, Canadian Oil Sands will definitely continue to do well for 2014. So 2014, you should definitely watch those three picks on the energy sector on the Canadian side. Now, for Francis, he believes that gold could be negative. His target for gold is around $900. So it will be the equivalent if ever GLD reaches $90. So he believes it will be definitely a negative for the gold sector. He believes the SPY, even if it's going up could continue to go up for the beginning of the year, but after he predicts the SPY could have a 15% correction, depending on which top what top it reaches. So he's actually expect the SPY to reach around 147. So his target is around here, a 20% decrease. So that's what I believe the SPY could do around here after this important increase that we had in 2013. And so this is actually for Francis. Now for Nick, what he believes that the interest rate on the US for the 10-year will top at 4%. So that's why he is bullish on TLT, right? But he said that you should definitely also watch TBT, which is on the upside. But he believes that TLT will definitely be on ETF that you should track because rates will top at 4%. And according to Nick, he believes that the best performing metal, it will be the copper. So GGC will be the ETF to have on your portfolio, or the Freeport McMorran. For me, it's the aluminum, but for Nick, it's the copper. Now, concerning the sports, well, Ala expects in 2014 that Brazil will win the World Cup. I believe so too. Concerning Max, for the Super Bowl, he believes Seattle will win the Super Bowl. For the soccer, World Cup soccer, he believes Argentina will win the World Cup. For the hockey is for Saint-Louis, and Gilles is for Le Canadien Montréal. For the boxing, Pascal versus Boutte, Max expects Boutte to win. For Francis, for the sports, he actually believes that the Denver Broncos will win in football. For hockey, he believes that Los Angeles will win the NHL Cup. For soccer, he believes Germany will win the World Cup. And Pascal versus Boutte, Francis is all for Pascal. And for the sports, Nick believes that Usain Bolt will finally be tested positive for next year. So those are our predictions for the year for 2014. So I'll meet you on December 31st, 2014 to see if those predictions worked out. I wish you a happy new year and take care.